Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about training your parrot and if you should actually be doing it. I want to explore some of the reasons people give why parrots shouldn't be trained and also try and refute them and give my reasons why I think training is actually essential to looking after our parrots and giving them the best possible lives in the home setting. As many of you know, parrots are incredibly intelligent creatures from the smallest budgie all the way to the biggest macaw, and that means they need lots of enrichment and activities, and basically that's where training really can fill a massive hole in their lives. It doesn't matter what size they are, it doesn't matter if you're inexperienced at training your parrot can bring so much joy to them, and we're going to explore that topic now. So before I launch into all the reasons I think training is really good for your bird at home, let's talk about some of the reasons people give for not training your parrot. Now, there seems to be a bit of a movement recently where people feel that training your parrot is unnatural and that they should be left to their own devices. In the home setting, they should just be basically free roaming and you just feed them and interact with them when they want to on their time scale. And even if you've got solo bird base, you just leave them to it, and training is just not something you should be doing. I can see part of the logic from it, however, obviously later on I'll explore why that's no good. Other reasons I've seen for not training parrots is it's too hard, it's too difficult to get into. If the parrot's older, they won't learn anything. It's like the old dog, new tricks sort of thing. Exactly, Scampy, I agree. There's all sorts of reasons people give for not training parrots. And I've seen it a lot on forums recently. It tends to be paired with the whole my parrot's out 24/7 philosophy, where the parrot's out 24/7, it doesn't do much, it's just there. And if you have a bird room or a massive aviary, then you can ignore some of these points, but even in those circumstances, I think a degree of training is essential and useful. Other common reasons I see for parrots not being trained are both these two rolled into one. One is the parrot's not motivated by treats, and that often comes from diet. And the other is the parrot is just not interested in training. So if the parrot's not interested in training, why should I make it train? And those two kind of feed into each other, you know. Your parrot should want to train and should be motivated to train. And that is more down to us than down to the parrot. It's mostly problems we're fixing in our philosophy, in the way we think, rather than anything to do with our parrot at all. So we explored some reasons why people say you shouldn't train your parrot. Now let's start trying to pick them apart and give my reasons why you should train your parrot. And number one is it is completely natural to train your parrot. It may sound a bit odd saying that, so let me explain a little bit. In the wild, your parrot will be part of a large flock and they'll be interacting with other parrots, they'll have their parents, they'll be being taught things basically. They will be being trained in the wild by other parrots. Where are the best foraging spots? How to forage in the first place? Where do you find water? How do you deal with this predator or the threat? How do you play? All of these things they'll be learning from their flock mates, and in the home environment they may not be able to do that. So it's up to us to train them to do that. We need to train them to forage, we need to build their confidence, we need to show them what foods are good and what's not. We need to show them how to navigate our home environment, and that's where training comes in so important, especially something like target training, because we can clearly communicate what we want our parrot to do and they know what they have to do, so they can learn lots of things. And you know, learning is natural. You know, one thing I find very confusing with anti-training sort of movements is we train ourselves. Humans are trained. Education is just another word for training, you know. We are being trained constantly. Why do we not apply the same logic to our animals? They train each other in the wild, so if we're fulfilling the role of basically parent to our animals, why can't we train them? And it is completely natural to train your parrot or with your parrot. My next reason for training your parrot is it's fun. It's fun for them, it's enriching for them, it allows them to exercise that awesome mind they have, and it's also entertaining for us, you know. It's so much fun training with them, and you see the satisfaction when you achieve something with your parrot, and you also see the satisfaction in them when they achieve something, the joy of it, just being able to explore, you know, when they finally learn those toys are amazing, that foraging activity has loads of fun treats in it. You can see the satisfaction in them. Yes, you do, Scampy, and you can just enjoy that. You know, it is really enriching, really fulfilling, and I would argue necessary for their well-being in our home environment, that not only we teach them these things, but they learn to enjoy all these things, and training is a great way of doing that. Another reason that I think training is essential is you need to do it to keep your parrot healthy. It kind of ties into the whole fun thing. but they need to exercise that mind, and if they're doing that, you're going to see a lot less of those behaviours you don't want to see. If your parrot's engaged in foraging, if you're training with them regularly, if you're having fun with them regularly, that means they're going to be less likely to be stressed or exhibit hormonal stress behaviours. And most of the common things that we see that are problematic with parrots come from those two areas. You can see Scampy on me now. You nibbling me, you naughty boy. He's perfectly relaxed on me, even though I'm talking loud, and Conya's can be quite stimulated by that. And that is through training and just working with him and working through it. Leading on from that, training, it solves lots of problems. And I'm not saying it's a quick fix or an instant fix, it does take time and effort. But if you have got a parrot who's biting, if you have a bonding problem, if you have a parrot who may just not be interested in interacting with anything, you need to train. You basically need to train them, you need to teach them not to bite you hard through self-targeting. You need to bond with them by teaching them that you're a good person, that you want to be with them. And you need to teach them that those toys are lots of fun and how to interact with them. All of these things don't happen magically. Your parrot's not just going to suddenly know it. There may be some instinctive element to it, maybe with foraging, but you need to show them and teach them. So training is absolutely essential in that respect too. You need to show them what you want them to do, and you need to avoid those problematic behaviours through training. Another reason, there's loads of reasons, it builds confidence. It builds your confidence as a parrot owner because you know how to interact with your parrots. It's easy to learn basic training, you know, don't be deceived by a lot of people who say it's that complex. A lot of the concepts are very, very simple. You can learn them. You know, you can learn them just by watching my channel basically. A lot of it's all there. But it builds your confidence as a trainer, and you get more experience in how to interact with your parrot. It builds their confidence as well, so they learn how to do things, they learn to explore their environment, and they generally become a much more happy and well-rounded, confident bird. Just like education enriches us, it enriches them. So you want to build your confidence of your bird up through training, well worth it. A more serious point now, training is essential at home because it allows you to get your parrot out of dangerous situations. Target training especially, if your parrot flies somewhere they shouldn't do, if you have other animals, you need to get your parrot to step up or to target away and to safety. Otherwise your parrot could get hurt and all sorts of things can happen. If you are lackluster in that and something happens, I'm going to be very brutal here, it's probably down to you rather than anything else. You had that time to train, you could have trained. Accidents do happen, can't avoid it, but you reduce the risk of those accidents massively if you train your parrot. You know, if you have your parrot 24/7, that's even more reason to train your bird. Even if they're in an aviary, you need some basic training in case they need to be going to a travel carrier for a vet visit or they need some sort of checkup. Husbandry training, maybe they need their nails trimmed. It needs to be all trained for these situations that will occur. And if you put even the most basic level, it makes it so much easier. Perfect examples of all our parrots, you know. Our parrots go into the travel carrier when they need to. Our parrots follow the target when they need to, because they don't all get on. So we may need to target one away from another to prevent a dangerous situation occurring. Luckily we don't have any other pets, but if we had a dog or a cat, I'd be very cautious about that. And if there was a dangerous situation occurring, I would want my bird to be straight on me so they don't get hurt by that dog or cat. In the aviary, again, getting caught up, all those things, you can avoid so much stress to your parrot. Leads me on to my next point. So my final point, in case you're getting bored of this video already, it reduces stress for your parrot. You know, if they're trained to go into the travel carrier, they're trained to deal with dangerous situations, for example, to come to you, so they don't fly around and get scared. If they're trained to deal with vet visits, they're trained to go back in the cage, it reduces your stress level, it reduces their stress level, and everyone's much happier. You know, you don't want an anxious parrot, and that can be helped through desense training. It's just absolutely essential in that respect too. So guys, that brings me to the end of the video. I hope you found it entertaining and useful, and if you're not into training, maybe it's convinced you to give it a try. If you are regularly training and maybe feeling a bit discouraged, that it gives you some inspiration to do so. Again, this video is not about bashing people, it's more about trying to convince people that training is so useful and natural for your parrot. Any comments, suggestions, happy to hear from you down below, but in the meantime, from me, a very playful, Pickles and cuddly Scampy, take care and see you later.